Hi class, we got cut off from our part 1, so I'd like to continue on with our chapter 4. So I left you on the slide talking about how correlation does not imply causation. If we want to know about cause and effect, so if one behavior causes another, then we would need to look in an experimental design. If we are simply seeing if two variables have a relationship, now we're looking at a correlation, right? And there's an important reason for this, and we'll kind of get into that here in just a second. So as you can see from this particular model, on our y-axis we have deaths, and this is the year. And then you see two different lines here. A yellow line, which is the total revenue generated by skiing facilities, and the kind of pink line here is the number of people who died by becoming tangled in their bed sheets. If we take a look at these two lines, they seem to overlap each other pretty closely. So the question is, they're clearly related to each other. Can I say then that the number of people who died by becoming tangled in their bed sheets is caused by the amount of revenue generated by skiing facilities? Well, I hope the answer that you came up with was no, right? Because those two things don't seem to be related. In actuality, there may be something else influencing this relationship, right? And so while we see that people dying by being tangled in their bed sheets and the amount of revenue generated by skiing facilities tend to be highly correlated, there may be a relationship there, but one is not causing the other. So let's try another one. Given a significant positive correlation between self-esteem and reading ability, can we conclude that high self-esteem causes better reading? Well, I hope you can say no, right? And why not? Well, there could be alternative explanations. Maybe if you are a better reader, you actually just might have better self-esteem, right? So we don't know which one is causing the other, or maybe it's a third variable. Maybe your parents influence your high self-esteem and how much you read, right? So, we have a directionality problem here. So maybe causality is reverse. So good reading, as I said, causes higher self-esteem. Or, as I also mentioned, we have a third variable problem, which is, in this case, perhaps parental praise. And parental praise causes better reading ability and higher self-esteem, right? So we can't say that we see a relationship with these two things and that one is causing the other. Your book then goes in to talk about independent variables and dependent variables, and these are extremely important. Independent variables, or an IV, is a variable that is directly changed or manipulated by the researcher. In order for something to be an experiment, there must be at least one independent variable, and that's controlled by the researcher. And we believe it is kind of the cause. So my IV always influences my DV. My DV is going to be the outcome, or in this case, the measure of behavior that the investigator expects will be affected by the independent variable. So I always write it like this. I put down IV, and then I'll draw a little arrow, and then I put DV, which means whatever you select as an independent variable should produce differences in your outcome variable, your DV. So let's do an example of this. Let's say that I want to look at the effects of cell phones on driving ability. So I have participants come into the lab, they get into some sort of driving simulator, and then I record the number of driving mistakes that they make. Okay, so then my research participants are assigned to either use a cell phone or not to use a cell phone while they are driving. Okay, so they get into the simulator. I give one group of people a cell phone, the other group of people I don't give a cell phone, and then I take a look at the end product of this, which is the number of mistakes they made. So in this case, what would my independent variable be? What's being manipulated? This is the worst when nobody responds. I'm recording, so obviously nobody can respond. So my independent variable would be whether or not a cell phone was used. That's what's being manipulated. Those are my conditions, either being in a cell phone use group or being not in a cell phone use group. My DV then would be my outcome, which is driving ability, right? So how are people able to drive? What's their driving ability look like based on my manipulation, which is my independent variable. And in this case, it's whether or not you had a cell phone. Now, I said driving ability, but remember up here I talked to you about how it's a driving simulator and it records the number of driving mistakes. So if I wanted to know what my operational definition is of driving ability, what would I say? I hope you would say that my operational definition is the number of driving mistakes, number of driving mistakes that's recorded, right? Let's do one more. I have a diffusion of responsibility experiments, okay? Is a person, so my question is a person less likely to help someone in distress when many people are around? So what would my independent variable be here? Remember, that's what I'm changing. That's what I'm manipulating. My independent variable could be the number of other people that are around me. My dependent variable is the outcome, right? The outcome of those number of people. And looking at the above example here, is a person less likely to help someone in distress when many other people are around? So my dependent variable would be whether a participant helped, right? That's going to be my outcome. So does the number of people influence that outcome? All right. So that kind of gives you a good start to the beginning of this chapter. Of course, your book readings are going to be really important here. And of course, I'm happy to help answer any questions. We'll be having some class time where we'll be discussing more of this in a little bit greater detail as well. So I hope that you'll be able to join us. Have a great rest of your day. And again, please don't hesitate to let me know if you have any questions. Have a good one. Bye.